Whose number one fan are you? Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to or watching the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimbaley. My whole purpose for this show is to help you elevate your consciousness. Thank you so much for being here. I'm having so much fun. I decided to do this as a little challenge to be on video more, but I think I kind of like video a little bit better than the audio. So we'll see how it goes. You make sure you let me know how you feel about it. Also, I'm grateful for the people that you invite to listen to the show too, because not only do I want to elevate your mind, I want to elevate the mindset of all of humanity. Thank you for subscribing here and on the website at Kimbaley, Kimbaley.com. And I got that on the banner for those of you who are watching on YouTube. If you're listening to audio, I challenge you to try to watch it on video on YouTube at Kimbaley underscore. Thank you. So today I have a lot to talk about. Well, not really a lot to talk about. I'm going to make light of a subject that I feel like is so important to you. I'm going to do that through one of my stories, of course. But before we get into that, brought to you by Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can get that app and get your forecast every single day. Go to a star 8 ASTAR, the number 8.com, or you can download it on the App Store or Google Play. You can also go to Linktree/numbers and you, where you can check out some of his more exclusive products and services. Know your numerical cycle. You can get a yearly numerology forecast that details all the months of the year, including what you should be doing within each week of each month. It's great to help you plan, it's great guidance. You should also have access to your numerical blueprint. Find out more about yourself by ordering a personal numerology report. And if you want to get a little bit deeper, why don't you book a reading? You can book a consultation and get your reports at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. Now, let's get into the show. Boy, so today I'm going to tell you about the boy bands in the late 80s and the late 90s. Throughout time, there has been plenty of boy bands. Whenever there's a craze for boy bands, there's always a bunch of number one fans. It's interesting, in the late 80s and early 90s, my cousin was really into music and we were really close. And so she would always share the music that she was listening to with me. Sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't. But there was this one group that got her attention. And with this group, she started to become a fanatic. I mean, she loved this group and she let me listen to the music. And when I told her it's okay, I told her it's okay. They're not my favorites, but they're okay. She'd insist that I listen to them again. And so I did. And after a while, this group kind of grew on me. Let me tell you the group. And I'm almost ashamed to say it. The New Kids on the Block. And trust me, I can't even remember a song they sang to this day. But my cousin was so crazy about this group that by me being around her for a certain amount of time, I started to kind of like the group too. But she went crazy with it. She was buying wall posters. She was buying magazines. She had the t-shirts. Everything she had was New Kids on the Block. And after a while, I got a little bit closer to them too. I started to consider my cousin a number one fan, and before long, she had me trailing right behind her. One day, though, she decided to cross the line. See, this is when the phones had the long distance calls, the 1-900 numbers, where you would have to pay for calls per minute. Well, this boy band had their own 1-900 number. And there was this promotion about a leather jacket. My cousin just knew she was going to win that leather New Kids on the Block jacket. So much so that she convinced me that, hey, maybe we could win it. But the only way we could win it was we had to call this 1-900 number. So that meant getting permission to make these long distance calls. We did. And I don't know why we felt this way, but we were just waiting for our New Kids on the Block leather jacket to come into the mailbox. We waited for months. Still no leather jacket. We stopped being number one fans after a while because we knew at that point we were not getting the leather jacket that we thought. I don't know why we were under that impression, though, really, that we would be getting. So we were a fan, but we jumped on to another bandwagon. And that's the story. And that was the end of New Kids on the Block. At least for me, anyway, because I was sore about that leather jacket. Point being, whose number one fan are you? Now, when we look at these boy bands, they have these groups of people that would do anything for them. You saw how I explained how my cousin had purchased all of this stuff just because their name was on it. We even convinced our parents to pay for these long distance phone calls just for the hopes of getting a leather jacket with their name on it. We really love that band, and we did everything we could to represent it. So the important question is, whose number one fan are you? And I told you in the beginning that this was going to be a lighthearted story, but the topic around the story is a very, very important matter, because with today's society, there's a lot of concern for mental health. When you look at people these days, you notice that people are not as nice as they used to be. People are not as warm, friendly, caring, or giving. And I mean, it just gets worse as time moves on. But there's one thing that I want people to understand. The one thing that I want you to understand is self firstness. I know it sounds like a word that I probably made up. Actually, I think somebody else made it up for me. But self firstness is different than selfishness. A lot of people are afraid of being selfish or seeming selfish to other people. So they do things sometimes that they really don't want to do to avoid this at all cost. But when I say all cost is the price that you pay. Because when you don't put yourself first, you have to question yourself. Who's going to put you first? Same thing with confidence. If you don't have confidence in yourself, who's going to have confidence in you? Everything starts with you. Everything begins with you. It's impossible for you to please anyone else if you're not pleasing yourself. It's impossible to love anyone else if you're not loving yourself. Because truly, you don't know these things unless you experience them for yourself. Sometimes you got to put yourself first. And I know this because there's been a lot of times in my life where I felt like I was the one that was always being strong for everybody else. I was the one that was being there. But then when the tables turned, who's going to be there for you? It's important because this is what impacts your mental health. A lot of times we talk about physical rest, but we don't even think about the mental rest that we need. We don't even think about the garbage that we may be taking in from others time and time again. We don't think about those things until it gets to the point where it starts affecting our health and we wonder what's going on. And in the midst of wondering what's going on, you find out that what really is going on is that you have neglected to take care of yourself. You've taken care of everybody else. When are you going to do something for you? And don't think that is selfish. It's just being self first. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people think that it's embarrassing to not be able to do something for someone else. No, what's embarrassing is you not being able to do something for yourself. You need to begin to become your very own best friend. Nobody's going to love you the way that you do. Nobody's going to understand you the way that you understand yourself. And nobody's going to really get it the way that you will. That's why it's important to put you first. You know, one of the beautiful things about life is that I believe that we all have a higher self. I believe that there's an elevated part of us. You know, there's that part of us, the spirit man, as they will call it. You know, the all wise, the all knowing. And another thing I like to call it is a guide. There's a guide there. And that guide is there to help protect you. That guide is there to lead you, and that guide is there to show you the light. It only wants the best for you. So I'm expecting you to go take some pictures, make posters of yourself, hang it around your room, maybe even write some books with your name on it, make some t shirts with your name on it. And of course, get you a leather jacket. Start becoming your own number one fan. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.